Right.
Oh, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning. Nice of you to join. No, I'm kidding. Okay, we're going over there. Well, it's fine. I'll sit here. I have a red chair, so I guess I'm sitting next to Ryan.
Why do you have to have red chairs?
Because they're more
can sit
comfortable.
here.
You want to
It's
sit
not
there?
there. You could assume the position.
We're bowing down to the higher authorities. All right, we are
You guys
recording.
ready? Thank you. I will call to order at 11:02. Roll call, Flintoff,
Here.
Jillian,
Here.
I'm here, Kathleen Brandt,
Here.
Kathleen Knoll.
Here.
Excellent, we have quorum. Adoption of the agenda.
Small suggestion that F2 might be possible action.
Okay.
I'd offer that as a proposed amendment.
Or
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
so any support?
Support.
Excellent, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome, agenda adopted. Public comment, this is time for members of the public to speak for up to 3 minutes on any matter of the purview of this committee, I guess.
Yes.
The board of trustees.
In person.
Another person, any online?
We just have one attendee and at this time she does not have her hand raised.
Awesome.
It's just a soft.
We'll go to approval of the minutes.
Thanks for taking the minutes, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Today also.
Oh, you know,
Did we assign a
we
secretary?
did. I think you're the secretary.
Yes.
Yeah, would you continue to take minutes? I really was thanking you for these and not prompting you.
Well, this looks good.
Kathy, you said you had changes to the
Oh.
draft minutes?
Yes, I did.
Mhm.
Sorry, it takes me a few minutes here. Okay. On the section, last page, the section under pre-app meetings,
Mhm.
I wanted to just phrase it differently, and here's my suggested change, which I can hand to Kathleen. But, it would be Laura Krebs, Mariah Fink, Kathy Knoll discussed the consideration of public attendance at pre-app meetings. It was decided that the current practice of not allowing the public to attend will be continued because it allows for the sharing of confidential information and the free flow of discussion.
Is that what you said the last?
Yeah, it is what I said.
Did you get that copy? to-
I'm going to.
Okay, thank you. It's a lot to write. I was trying to write it out, but.
And Kathy, wouldn't,
I wanted it to be clear that Mariah, Laura, and I did discuss this
Yep.
in
Mhm.
detail.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time on it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't just a decision that Laura made.
sure. And it's the kind of outcome of that conversation was to recommend that it continue this way.
Right.
Would you accept that edit to your
Yes,
amendment?
yes.
Because I think the language says how things shall be. And I think the outcome was what the three of you recommend. Fair?
Will be, okay, what I can say is the continued current practice of not allowing the public to attend will be recommended to be continued at this time.
Yeah, is recommended.
Okay.
That's the end of it?
No, I'm gonna hand you this.
Thanks, Kathy.
Any other changes to the minutes?
I don't have any.
Ellen?
I can go grab it.
Okay.
Yeah, you say it.
Real quick. Anyone want to move the minutes as amended? Okay,
I'll support.
okay.
I guess that's what we were waiting for. Sorry,
Yep.
Brian.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, all right. Jessica will be right back, but in the meantime, we'll move to the next agenda item, status report from you, Christie.
I didn't bring anything written down. It's, yes, if you have questions about what I'm working on or doing, I'm only working on things that are given to me during meetings or at the board table, which that hasn't happened yet, which is fine. But I'm attending all the attorney meetings and facilitating the management meeting and continually helping other employees through the building and go ahead. I don't talk well about myself, so
Well, get used
at
to
least
it.
I'm honest about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I don't interview well either. So I'm
well,
like, I don't know,
it's
I
about
don't
your,
know.
yeah, it's about your job, not you personally, but
Yeah,
I think
right.
I've attended, well, the management meeting and, just talking with Brandon, he's, the utilities and whatnot, and what we're doing to interact with
Mhm.
the utilities, and you've been
Yeah,
doing
he
a
keeps me
really,
up to date.
yeah,
on-
you've been
on
doing a
what he's
great
doing.
job.
Oh, thank you. He keeps me up to date. We go over things. If there's issues, we talk through, and if I think he should,
Mhm.
check with you, I certainly say you better follow up with Jillian and make sure that this is the way you should be going, and so.
The communication is excellent.
He's great, though. I mean,
Yeah.
he's easy to, he's reminds me of me a little bit, you can pretty much just say it and he's cool with it. It's like, he doesn't have like an ego that you've got to work around, which is, I like that.
Christie, is there anything that you need help with or you're noticing anything that could be improved? Not with you, but just in general?
Well, I did bring it up yesterday at the management meeting. You were there. We've got to work on more help from the staff on the phones.
Yes.
Okay,
That's always been an issue. Fran and I work very hard to grab the phones so they don't roll. Just because, it's ringing, you grab it, but sometimes we're at the counter, if we're not always right there to do it. And we need more support from other staff members. And I'm gonna call IBS because right now it rings 5 times before it rolls, and I think that's a lot.
Mhm.
I think after 2, for me and Fran, start rolling. And then we did have a discussion in the management meeting that people need to pick it up.
mhm.
Cause if they don't, it'll roll back to me and Fran.
Then the
And
person
then-
just keeps being.
Yeah, and I can
on
tell you when it's not picked up, because then we get a voicemail message via email and on the phone system.
hold.
So we shouldn't be having those.
So when you say roll, what does roll mean?
Like it'll ring to me.
It'll start ringing to the other phone
Yeah,
extension.
So I pick up the phone.
Mhm.
Okay, whose extensions does it ring to?
You know. yeah,
Right
they
now,
order.
Different.
It apparently, it starts with, it rolls down. So it'll hit one phone, then the next phone, and then the next phone.
Oh, okay.
Is the way I understood it. I
I
mean, I'm not
actually think-
there to. go
Yeah,
ahead.
I actually think right now, what I've noticed is after the 4 rings to the front,
Mhm.
if it's still ringing, they're both on a phone, it'll come to me and Barb simultaneously.
Okay,
I've noticed that. So one of us will grab it.
okay.
And so I'm grabbing
And I
the
think it
phone,
goes to Andrea's and it
Yeah,
goes to
Aurora.
Becky.
which we're happy to do. And Aurora has
Yeah,
offered.
Aurora
it for
offered,
me.
which was
Thank
very
you,
nice.
Aurora. But we need more of the management team to be comfortable, like picking up the phone and saying, hello, Scio Township, how can I help you?
Yeah, most of the time it's not gonna be for the person that answers the phone, just like it's not always for me, which is fine.
Might be for Brandon.
Or-
Maybe for-
Yeah,
who
or,
knows?
Right.
yeah, treasury, assessing, clerk, right now,
Yeah.
it's, clerk is slam dunking most of the phone calls, so.
Yeah.
And is there can a person, I think we briefly talked about yesterday, but, an extension?
We did talk about that. And it's something that we can do on the back end, probably as a last resort. If for some reason it's not getting picked up, I think that would be a good way to go.
Well, we used to have it on the website, I
It's
believe.
still there. Staff
Yeah,
directory.
and certain employees, I have their direct phone number in my phone, so I'm not calling
Right,
you all
but
the
you're
time.
different. The general
Yeah.
public isn't gonna do that. They're gonna just
No,
grab the
And we
township
want
number.
everybody to call one number and I want to be able to have a
Okay.
live voice say hello.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's how I feel too.
well, couldn't they, if they know that they want utilities, connect to utilities? Whatever extension that is through the message? Or,
So if you call the
Assessing-
It
main,
doesn't work that way yet. I would have to do an
Oh,
IBS. I've gotta reach out to our provider,
Hmm.
let them know what we're looking to do. I'd like to have 2 rings, then roll to certain extension numbers.
Okay.
And they can do it all at once, so someone's grabbing it, and then have something like that.
And I also think our future supervisor and treasurer would
Mhm.
probably also be willing to take phone calls.
yes.
I mean, they're
100%.
usually
Between
pretty
11
simple, and
and
if you
1
don't
every
know the answer, you just transfer to the person
Who does?
who does, like Fran and I would be the planning and zoning. Andrea's team's the assessing, obviously, treasurer is you and your
Yep.
person, it's a lot of what you do is just carry on. You have it under control.
Yeah,
I-
agreed.
All right,
I think,
moving on.
I think
Moving
that's,
forward.
that's a good question. It's probably good to get some information from the phone company to see how. that's
I
all
will, I'll
going.
reach out to them and get that.
The other question, I guess, I know you said Fran's gonna be,
On vacation, she's
next
gone
week.
right now, she just left.
Do
so.
you need more help next week in some way, shape or form?
She'll be back Wednesday, but what I've asked the clerk's department is I need someone in for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's already on top of it. We're gonna have somebody from her department in Fran's spot with the scanner so they can continue working. To see who's coming in the front door, because as soon as
Okay.
people walk in, they're looking at the 2 people at that desk.
Yep.
So
I'm assuming Fridays and Mondays are the busiest. for
Mondays are
ballots
busiest.
Or
Typically,
election.
in general,
it's
it's
just
just all busy. But Mondays are busier in
Okay.
general.
Right now.
All right,
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
thank you.
so you're welcome.
Any other questions?
No,
Awesome.
I always go to John because I have anything that I think I should have double checked, so.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you,
Staying
but you're-
organized.
Hey, you're
Yeah.
doing a great job. So I guess we'll go to the next item, which is discussion review on staff assignments list, and we did change it to possible action, so.
Yeah, so I
That's
handed
fine.
this out. It's the 1-page resolution and Chrissy had already, these are the 2 board resolutions that we adopted. Out of the recommendation from this committee to the board, just so we have them for reference. I wanted to draw our attention to the resolution 2024-21. And this is where we assign, supervision teams, who's supervising whom. Want to hand it to you, Kathy?
Is it?
Oh,
This is.
I have 2 copies.
23.
All right.
Yeah, but she just handed.
2024,
This is
21.
from you too?
There might be 2 copies there.
I gave you each a copy, 2024-21.
Oh, it's 1 page.
Yeah, it's
So
back,
we
double
have
sided.
each got a
Oh,
copy.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, she kept it.
Brian kept
It's
on.
okay.
Okay, the Kathys, okay, the Kathleen's.
All right.
All right. So I did want to touch base about, a couple of assignments. I think, first of all, overall, I have to say, the vibe in the office has been really positive. I have found that like communication is flowing better than it was for a very long time. And I feel like people are like collaborating and troubleshooting, like much more naturally. It's not feeling as stifled. And as it had been, frankly.
Oh, definitely.
Do you feel
I'm
that
loving
too?
the vibe.
Okay.
Good.
So that said, I know that, these temporary assignments will cross over November 20th at noon.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to be mindful of the assignments that are currently assigned to people who won't be here after November 20th at noon, because I want to provide those staff people a little more support. So those are, where are we at? Let's go down to the bottom of the first page. Be it further resolved that effective September 16th, supervisor will supervise fire chief, project manager, and parks director. I wanted to discuss those three. As well, I wanted to discuss the reporting of the code enforcement officer. I think it does make sense that that reports directly to the board as our HR generalist does. But Aurora raised a good point, being that we'll soon be kind of posting for the code enforcement officer. It might be good to have somebody assigned to that new person as they kind of get established. So, but first with the ones assigned to Will, I think that it isn't, I'd like to provide, certainly the fire chief, you know, is well established, and we're gonna be moving in the new board December 3rd. We have penciled in for, you know, starting discussion about union negotiations, things like that. But our project manager and parks director in particular, I think could use another point person as supervisor. And Christy and I have talked very briefly. I think Christy would be well equipped to run point for the fire chief, project manager, and parks director. I'm happy to help with one or more of those if you want, just for some continuity. But particularly with Murphy being new and kind of needing more grounding in, you know, kind of the grants process and stuff, she's been coming to me and Christy more, which has been helpful about like, hey, how does this work? How does that work? Just so she can be successful. And then Chris, I think as well, probably the new board will be looking at kind of how to, you know, kind of allocate his time. So I think having somebody who's going to be here that he can start talking to about kind of what's on his plate and helping him manage his work as we go into budget season and kind of think about where we want to use his talents.
I think I need more clarity about the project manager and the job description, and also what he is doing in the different departments or for the different departments. I don't know what, I get bits and pieces, but I don't,
Departments or committees?
all of it.
Yeah, I think, and that's where I think having somebody who, who's his point person, who's going to be here with some continuity, who can really kind of start working with him on that.
This is a lot. Do you feel comfortable taking on these additional?
Well, I think Andy's pretty self-sufficient. You know, I've talked to Andy already. And, you know, it would depend on what they would need from me. But I already helped Chris a little bit on things that he works on. Just little stuff, you know, things he has questions on. And, you know, Murphy will come to me as well if she has anything more in depth. I'm happy to work with her on it. And I mean, it's part of what's already in my temporary job description, is to be there to support the staff. So that's how I see it anyway.
And it's
And
really
if
an
I ever get into
orientation. Yeah.
a situation where I didn't feel comfortable answering, I won't answer, and I'll reach out and get the information she needs. So I mean, I'm okay, and it's always something we can change down the road, but.
We have a little over a month, so this. What are the issues that are happening right now?
Well, I just think that, you know, I don't know if there are issues. I'm just saying that, for example, the NEDC grants and MDNR grants forever. Will has been the only person authorized to submit those grants to the state. We have talked for 12 months about getting those credentials shifted over to Chris Chang and Rebecca Motti. We talk about it multiple times. We follow up on it. And I just think that's a small example, came up again in our weekly finance check-in about something that we just need to move. And I'm cognizant of the transition when we have a supervisor, you know, going out of office. You know, I think having somebody else supporting those people in getting those transitions to happen. What's happening now is, and then secondly, I'd say, you know, because we want Chris and Joyce, Rebecca and I met with the draft grants policy about his role with grants and Rebecca's role, you know, his on project, Rebecca on finance. So I just, think that it'll help transition things away from somebody who's not gonna be here. And Will admittedly has said like, yes, we wanna, do this, certainly there's no opposition to it, but it's just dragging. And so I think it'll help create a smoother transition for the township because, I was here in 2019, across 2020, when we went from Jack to Will. And, I will be the person digging through and finding credentials and finding out about late grant reports and things like that. So I don't want things to fall through the cracks. I guess another thing, not an issue, but an example, I think we all kind of saw some of this in the board meeting is like Murphy not being as a new person, and she's doing a fantastic job. Had a lot of good conversations with her, but she simply didn't know the process about grants. She simply had never been given a copy of the lease that we have with Scio Flyers. And so there's all of these conversations she's in, but she's not getting the grounding where I was like, hi, we have a lease with Scio Flyers. Here it is, and so just kind of the grounding in our procedures and kind of current status of things, I think would be really helpful.
She may not necessarily know the questions to ask either.
Exactly. So I think having somebody like Christy or me who's been here and who, is responsible for the administration of these sorts of things, could be helpful.
Let me pose another thought. Shouldn't we find out from Will exactly what he has been doing in these areas? Just so we have an idea.
Sure.
Well, I understand.
And I-
Shouldn't we ask? The
Yes.
committee can make a request for a
A
written
written-
report
Yeah.
from him.
Okay.
Describing what he's been doing with the oversight of these various areas. And that's all. And
Yeah.
Any outstanding issues.
Yes, we look forward to the transition.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
Just for grants or
No,
for
no,
everything?
fire chief, project manager, parks director.
All three areas
Okay.
that Will has supposedly been providing oversight to.
I think that's a great idea, Kathy. But I also want to make the recommendation that we shift that oversight,
And that's fine.
that we make that recommendation to the board
At what point?
Yeah, at what point?
now. I mean, soon, like October 22nd. And the reason for that is because then we'd have, 30 days.
Continuity.
Yeah, some continuity.
I think the other thing that would be good is, especially because I know this was an issue in parks. It wasn't an issue with the people, it was just an issue with process and background, is
Just process.
explaining things to our new department heads about how to do a budget, because if you've never done a governmental
Yeah.
budget before, you can't be expected to know it by just.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
just-
well, we'll be prepared for that. We're ahead of that.
And,
Awesome.
and just
Yeah.
yesterday at the management meeting,
Yeah.
gave us a 101, a little bit, on how to read the GL and what to look for, how much money we have, how much, is allocated that's not spent. Yeah, that was really helpful. Mhm.
And, Aurora had also suggested that the supervision, we could have it with the office coordinator, we could have it as we've done before with kind of the three officers, say clerk, supervisor, and treasurer. I'd say if we weren't in the middle of a transition, that would make more sense to me. But because we're in the middle of a transition, it's like, there's already, I know Ryan's doing some transition planning with Donna. There's a lot of work to, I just don't think that would work right now as well, Aurora, because it would be like me, Will, and Donna, and then it would be me, Jillian, and Ryan, and we'd still have that transition. So it could even be for a short period of time. I just want to, informally, Christy and I together are providing direction and oversight practically. And so I just think it would be good to kind of get a written report from Will on what outstanding things there are, and then kind of formalize that recommendation. And I find, again, I think Christy is wonderfully capable of running point for all three. I'm just offering myself up as a resource as needed.
Can I make a suggestion? Any changes that we do in this transition period, please inform all staff
Mhm.
And also to just let them know that we are going through a lot of change and if there's any questions to go to Christie, and also we're open to suggestions as well.
Mhm, mhm. So this would just be a recommendation. I would wonder if this committee might make to the board. I mean, this would be a board
I
decision.
would support that.
I would support that.
And I support it too.
Okay, so to shift those three to the office coordinator? Okay,
I mean, I
And-
may have missed it, but code enforcement, although we don't have anybody yet.
we haven't talked about that
Okay.
yet. Yeah, let's talk about that. So that currently reports to the board. Aurora, could you speak a little bit to your kind of insight or thought about that, given that it's vacant right now and reporting to the board?
Yes.
You love it when I surprise you with.
I
that.
know.
I'm sorry.
On the code enforcement, in terms of, our process of like the recruiting, et cetera, or just how I see that in terms of reporting structure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, given the timing that, right now reports to the board, it's currently vacant. My understanding is we'll be adopting a revised job description, hopefully on October 22nd, and then you'll post. So I would imagine it wouldn't be filled until after the new board takes office-ish.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes, I would, yeah.
So given that, is it okay to just kind of let that one lie for now? Like get the
In terms of
recruiting,
Reporting structure, you,
or do you want the reporting, would you recommend the reporting structure change before we post?
I don't recommend it changing, before we post, no. I think especially given that we don't know how long it'll take to fill it.
Okay.
I think. I know we had indicated supervisor, and then, as you mentioned, I had indicated maybe the supervisor along with, the clerk and treasurer at some point. I think either one of those would be effective, but I do think at a certain point, we do need to just have one person, that has the knowledge base of that, with the code enforcement, so that there isn't this, I'm asking multiple people, I'm bringing multiple people up to date.
The code enforcement job description is will be on the October 22nd.
I'm hoping to, I'm supposed to be working on that.
Okay.
We're all supposed to be working on a lot of things, but we're hoping.
Well, I know, there's a lot to do. Well, I'm thinking that maybe we have a little bit of time for that. And then to start recruiting after November 20th.
No, I think we could start recruiting as soon
Recruiting
as the
now.
board adopts the job description, because it could take a while.
I do too, because, while then you have the time frame of, accepting applications, reviewing it, et cetera, so the posting and the recruitment to me is, you can always get that out there. And then you can decide when you want to close it and start reviewing, to set up, the recommendations for interviews. So I like having the recruitment, process just open. So I think we're fine in accepting applications now. Once it's approved, once the new job description is approved.
Okay, thank you. So I guess with that, then I would be prepared to make a motion, if that's okay, Ryan?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that the committee direct the clerk to propose an amendment to the board to resolution 2024-21 to change the supervision of the fire chief, project manager, and parks director to the office coordinator. And to request that the supervisor provide a written status report to the board on his work with the fire chief, project manager, and parks director. Not
And
work,
And we have a date
document any outstanding issues.
and
by the
document
report by certain deadline.
and what date should that be?
The next board meeting?
The
November 12th?
13th or 12th, right? It's the 12th.
No, the next board meeting?
October 22nd is when I'll bring this motion, so we
Yeah.
could say, but why don't
We
we,
could say within 7 days.
yeah, let's say within 7 days.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay. It should be brief.
Yeah. I'll second that motion.
You.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, the one other thing, we always seem to leave off this agenda as if we want to set another meeting of our group. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I will defer to everyone
We
else.
could leave it to the call of the chair. I mean, that's another thing. I don't see any need to meet, but I would be happy deferring to Ryan.
Okay.
I don't know what others think.
Should we potentially, after the 7 days, meet again? After we receive the report?
Well, I think the report would go to the board.
Or we'll go to the board.
Oh, yeah. Well, go to the board
But
and
we may want to discuss it.
okay.
I mean, there may be some issues.
I'm flexible.
Okay, so if we wait 2 weeks,
There will definitely be issues.
that will be the first week of November. Oh. Well,
It's
that'd be that-
another problem
Yeah,
for
that'd
other
be that.
reasons. I mean,
You all make a plan and I'll jump
Okay.
in where I can.
We could do it after the Thursday, 5, 6, 7, November 7th. Give,
fine with
give
that.
Jess
What are you
the kind
talking
of,
about?
well, in 2 weeks, we'll
You know,
be,
Jillian,
Right.
don't plan around me. Truly. I
Well-
don't know what that week's gonna look like and I'll do my best. So you all make a good plan.
Where are we now?
yeah, okay, no, that'll be around Halloween then. In 2 weeks, but.
okay, leaving it open for now and then we can reconvene at a time. Makes the most sense, I think.
Are we all in agreement that we can leave it to the call of Ryan, or do you want to set?
I
something
am
empty?
okay with that. However, if we set something, let's give a reasonable notice.
Yeah.
Prefer to have
Our schedules.
5 business days notice, would that
Yeah,
be fair?
yeah.
Okay. I'll make a note.
Nothing the day before.
Right.
Certainly understand.
Okay. What was the 5 days for? What would?
When we'll, to notice the next
Oh,
meeting.
gotcha.
Well, not only to us, but also the members of
Okay.
the public. Alright. Final public comment? Any public comment for anybody present? No? Anybody online?
We have one person online. Public comment? Oh, she did raise her hand. Go ahead, Pam.
Thank you. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but thank you for working so well together. This was just so pleasant to listen to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pam.
That is never a broken record. She can say that as.
That never gets old.
All right,
That's it. That's the only.
excellent. Motion adjourned?
Motion to adjourn. I will make that motion.
Excellent.
I'll support.
Excellent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're adjourned at 11:37.